Hello and welcome to this very brief video that I hope will outline a few of the things that we're going to try out to try and encourage some new learners that may not speak English, a few tools and tech tools that we think will really help them to settle into the class and help teachers to kind of be able to provide an education that includes that sort of translation element for those children that aren't confident speakers of English. I'm going to move away from kind of the one-to-one conversations. There's some brilliant apps out there, Google Translate, Microsoft Translate, and lots of others that are available for phones, tablets, etc. And I'm going to look at some sort of whole class teaching elements and a little bit of conversation with parents with a couple of tools that we've just started to experiment with here at Rowledge that you might find useful for some children joining you too. So the first tool I'm going to look at is how you can use some of the live caption features for PowerPoint 365. I'm going to jump onto a screen share so you can have a look at what I mean, and I'm going to show you what that looks like for you as the teacher, but also for a pupil machine if you choose to use that too. Okay, so I have logged into my online Office 365 because the features that I need are available in the online version of PowerPoint. It might be that at your school you have a new enough version of PowerPoint on your desktops too to not need to do this step, but for me it's using Office 365 to be able to do this. So once I'm in there and I've opened up a PowerPoint that I'm going to be looking at, I then want to move across to this slideshow tab here. And within there you'll see there's a few options that are going to be really useful for us. The first one here is about using subtitles. So here you can put in the spoken language of the speaker, so this will be the teacher that is teaching. I'm using a microphone here on the desk, but if I was in lessons I'd be using a Bluetooth microphone. You can just use one of those ones that you use for connecting to phones, or you can actually use AirPods for this too if you can connect them to your laptop, or there are a list of recommended headsets that you can use on the Microsoft website to use with this. So I'm going to select UK English. My subtitle language that I want to choose, again I can then select from the list. I'm going to use Ukrainian, as we have some Ukrainian children that are coming to our community soon. And I've got that set that I'm always using subtitles here. Then once I'm ready to present, I hit present live. Okay, this will come up now showing the details of my live meeting, the PowerPoint live meeting here. That means that on a different device, that might be a tablet or another laptop, you can log into this. I'm going to show this now on my other screen, so I'm going to go to that same address. Obviously if you're on a tablet you can just scan that QR code and get to it that way. Great, so I'm now navigating over there. I've got it set that anybody can join this meeting over there. And you can have it so it's just people in your organisation, and that way you can use a child's Office 365 login instead. Right, first things first, I'm just going to show my slides, and I'm actually going to turn off my microphone just for a second over there. So jumping back onto this machine, again, because I've gone in here as anybody, what I need to be able to do is now change the language that it's coming in as, and again I'm looking for that Ukrainian language for this setting, but you could use any language. You could actually use this for a child that you want to be able to have the transcription in English anyway, so they can go back and read through your instructions if it's somebody that struggles to retain more than one step of a problem. Right. So now what I've set up is myself speaking. I've got on screen here some subtitles in Ukrainian. I can turn those on or off if I want to, and then I could have had those in English or any other language. And then over on the child's device, if I want to use a separate device, I have the translation coming up there too. So when I enable my microphone, I'll speak through some of the things that I would say on a slide like this, and I'll show you how that looks on both screens. So today's learning objective is to sort shapes based on their properties. We're going to be thinking about how to be successful here today using Venn diagrams to sort according to simple criteria. Then we're going to use some given properties with those Venn diagrams, and we're going to justify our choices in our conversations with each other today. This is a very simple Venn diagram that we have here, and this is the kind of work that we're going to be getting on with. Just going to turn off that microphone again, show you what I've come up with here then. So we have the main transcript on our pupil device. They can then right click if they want to and have that read aloud to them. And again, hopefully what that will do is speak it in their chosen language. I've got that one on mute so you won't be able to hear that very clearly, but we have the reading there in Ukrainian for the child if they want to be able to have that read aloud to them, or they can go back and scroll through each of the stages of my instructions at different slides and different times, so that they can see what those instructions were for me. Again, same can be in English only, and that's I think a really simple way to be able to offer the live translation in your lessons. Particularly useful if you already have some PowerPoints that you use to teach from, or you might just build this into part of your teaching repertoire when you're doing some modelling. You just exit out of there whenever you want, and again the child's device still has those slides open that you've been through with them, so they can review those with a teacher next to them or by themselves, along with the notes that you said in their home language there too. The second tool that I want to show you again is a Microsoft Translate tool. So if you head to translator.microsoft.com, and this will require a login. I've already logged in here, but you can create your own conversation. So what you do is you go to Start Conversation here. You log in using your Microsoft login. It's just going to sign me in, I think. Then you pop in your name and your language and you press on Start Conversation. What's great about this is it works a bit like Google Translate in a one-to-one conversation, but it doesn't mean you have to be on a shared device, which can be tricky, either passing a phone backwards and forwards or a tablet in the same way. So this allows you to have two separate screens to be able to view a conversation. What's really good is you can print out that QR code down there in the corner, so that when you have somebody who comes to join you, particularly for a parents' evening or a meeting with a parent that speaks a different language, they can just scan that, and actually they don't have to download any apps at all. It just opens up the relevant page on their browser on their device. Equally, you could have a second device set up for them. And what you'll see is they get a similar looking screen. Just ask them for their name and their preferred language. Again, let's just, for this example, head back down to our Ukrainian. Oh, it seems to have disappeared Ukrainian there for some reason. I think that's because it's text only. Let's head down the list here. Oh, there it is. Ukrainian, and press on Join Conversation. Now what's great about this, as I said, is that you've got those two separate screens. So we now have our parent that's joined. So in the same room, you could be still conversing face to face. You could both have phones, tablets, or you could be using a desktop computer. All you need to do as the host here is to press the button and record what it is that you want to say, or you could type. Hi, thank you so much for meeting with me, and I can't wait to talk to you about your child's progress. You'll notice that I put an extra at the beginning there, unnecessarily, but what you'll see is that I have it here in English, so I can see what I've said and what has been sent across, and then over on the parent's device, again, that has come across translated for them already into Ukrainian. Again, if you're on a Edge on a desktop, you can just right click on that and you can have that read aloud in the home tongue if you want to. But naturally, with a parent meeting, that's less needed, really. Hopefully they'll be able to see that translation live. But again, they can then hit on their microphone, speak back in their home tongue, and that will come across back in English onto your screen, which just helps that conversation flow a little bit better. So those are two tools that we're going to look at using as we have some children where they're coming across where English isn't their first language, something that you could hopefully use in your class too.